Welcome to Wood Talk. Now here are three guys who always turn the other cheek when cleaning up tenons. Marc, Shannon, and Matt.
Well, what's going on, everybody? It is show number 590, and on today's show, we're talking about tools that we wish existed, shopping for a grinder, and why don't you buy another super expensive, super specific tool? That's compelling. I like that.
There was a fair bit of judgment in that.
Quite a bit of judgment. I mean, maybe it was just my reading of it that was judgmental, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
I
what
like the direction you took with it, regardless.
Okay, we're going to find out. All that and more is coming up, but first we want to let you know that Wood Talk is proudly sponsored by Woodcraft. Woodcraft is the leading authority in woodworking, making, and creating. They have the tools, supplies, expertise, and hands-on classes to inspire creativity at every level. Learn more at woodcraft.com.
And I'm on the next level, and I feel inspired right now. Hey, like that? That's pretty good. Hey, and our show is also sponsored by the generous contributions of people such as yourselves. If you want to help support the show, you can do so by going to patreon.com/woodtalk and sign up to become a patron of the show. You get, besides being a cool patron person, you also get access to the ad-free version of the show with all the awkward pauses that are there that you'll probably enjoy. This week we're thanking Patrick, Daughters of Delos, Dave Frankowski.
All right. Daughters of Delos. It sounds like that would be like a new band, like a hippie kind of band.
Could be, yeah.
A crunchy hippie band.
Or a witch coven.
Yeah, it could be that too. What are we getting involved with here, guys?
There's that too.
By the way,
they've cast a spell of beneficence on us. We're happy.
There is a Patreon level, I believe, that still promises a Wood Talk sticker if they sign up at that level, and we had about 12 of them piled up that sometimes get forgotten. They're not missed forever, they're just forgotten. And I sent that email to my mom, and I said, hey, when you get a chance, shoot some stickers off to these people. So if you've been waiting for a sticker patiently, no one's complained, which I appreciate, but I saw them sitting there. I felt really bad because it's been a while, so we're going to send those stickers out for you guys. Apologies for the delay. But guess what? We have a giveaway winner. Do you remember the whole giveaway thing that I kind of sprung on you guys last
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, out of nowhere, the little small shoulder plane deal. I do have a winner selected, and because this is not something we usually do, and we didn't promote this outside of the show, your chances of winning that particular giveaway were pretty damn good. Like normally when we did giveaways in the past, we'd be promoting them all over the place.
Yeah.
And it would be like a couple thousand people would enter. So 589 people entered this. So you had a pretty solid shot at winning these compared to
a
other
lot of
giveaways.
people for like just talking about it here.
For this little tiny show. I know.
I did not expect that many
Mentioning
people
it on
for
one episode.
Yep. Yeah. One episode, one show, one mention, and boom. So anyway, you guys want to know who won? Are you excited?
Me?
Are we going to read off his full address that you've printed here in the show notes for us?
I put that there for me. so I remember, didn't we do that once with an email and Shannon just started to read it?
I Ron Burgundy did. It was there. I just went with it.
So let's not do that. And Todd, can we get a drum roll here? We need some excitement, a little bit of build up.
I'm not Todd, but
Todd will handle this. No, you're just making noise that he's going to have to edit out now. Todd, can I have a proper drum roll, please? All right, Nathaniel Snell is the winner.
Yay!
I'm not going to give the whole address, but he is a Virginian, and he's going to have a sweet WoodRiver shoulder plane in his hands very, very soon as I get back to the shop and mail it out to him. So congratulations, Nathaniel. And guess what? We have some good news. Woodcraft liked this idea. Obviously, this first one, it was a bit of a snafu, like the reason it happened in the first place. But then we discussed it a little bit, and they like it. So we are going to have a couple of giveaways going through the end of 2025. Stay tuned on the next show. I don't have the info just yet. We're working out the details, but on the next show, we're going to have another giveaway for another tool sponsored by Woodcraft. So I am super excited about that.
So we didn't get in trouble. That's cool.
Woodcraft.
Did not get in trouble. In fact, we got a pat on the back. Nice job, you three morons. You stumbled into something good.
You showed initiative. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. We won some points.
Our performance reviews are good now. That's
good.
I
think they liked it. So let's get into what's on the bench. For me, I cannot get to this desk. This desk is constantly avoiding me. It's running away from me, and I'm trying to get things done. So I spent a good amount of time last week playing with the Eon laser. which is funny because Nicole wanted it. Nicole arranged for the deal to get it with Eon, and I'm the only one using it, which is great. Yeah. So you know what I was doing? I was lasering little circular aluminum tags for these ridiculous Oreo plushies that we started to sell.
Of course you did.
I had the same reaction when they arrived on the shop doorstep, and I opened the box, and it's a giant box of tuxedo cat stuffies. I was like, I just texted my wife, and I said, Nicole, ...
Like, see, but that is a perfect opportunity for one of those where it started, how it's going type posts.
Oh yeah.
You know, let's go back to Marc with a piece of wood, like young, little child Marc.
Or may the shores be with you or something like that.
Yeah.
This is where the Wood Whisperer empire has gone. We're selling plushies now.
Turned into cat plushies. So I'm now lasering.
The internet always wins. It's always about cats.
It is. And plushies, apparently. So I'm lasering the tags. And the funny thing is, we already had been lasering tags in one-offs for the cat. So that when someone finds the cat, they see the tag. It's the Wood Whisperer shop cat. And we actually have a little comment on the back that says, I'm not lost. I just like it outside. And that tells people not to take our cat.
Also, subscribe.
And also like and subscribe, please. Yeah. So on these tags, of course, we removed our phone number because his tag actually has a phone number on it. But it's the exact same verbiage that we put on his tag. So people are loving this silly little plushie. They're still on pre-order. We only had 90 of them.
Only 90 plushies.
Well, look, when you order something from China, I guess you got to order enough to make it worthwhile.
That's a lot of plushies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we sold, the thing was, I told her, I'm like, look, give me the cost. I want to know how many of these we need to sell in this pre-order just to cover the cost of this stupid endeavor. And thankfully, we've sold enough to do that. So now I don't feel as bad.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So at least we broke even.
That doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't.
Or ever.
You're in this for profit? Wow.
Not much profit, but sure. Yeah, we're in it for profit. So anyway, playing with the laser, also been doing a lot of my favorite task, is doing drywall. This is actually kind of worked out good. The space that this desk is going into needed to be kind of reshaped. It had like an arch top on it. And because we're putting, from the desktop to the ceiling, bookshelves in there, I needed to square it up. So I had to convert it from an arch top to a just more boring square that will allow us more storage space. But it involved a little bit of drywall work and a little bit more mudding than I was, hoping to have to do. So the cool thing is, even though I'm not getting much work on the desk, this all has to be done before the desk comes home for the install. So I've been just a half hour every night working on it a little bit, letting the layer. And we're in Missouri. It's very humid here. So drywall mud takes forever.
Oh my God!
For it to actually cure. And I got a fan going 24 hours down there. I'm so used to Denver and Arizona where I got about 5 minutes and like a quarter inch of a joint compound can dry in that period of time. And now it's like days here. So it actually just worked out because every night I go down, I do a little coat, do a little cleanup, and hopefully by the time I'm done, I'll be able to work on the desk again and get it prepared for the actual install.
I don't know. I kind of doubt that. I feel like you'll find something else to
you'll find another
distracted by.
If you're a betting man, I think you'd have safe money betting that I won't get to the desk. So we'll see how this week goes.
Your little drywall humidity issue. That's exactly why I'm not patching a hole that I had to have my thermostat moved, and it was one of those like horrible things where nothing lined up and they couldn't find the cords to fish them through to move it over. So there was 3 holes drilled in the drywall when the thermostat was moved. And because of having to patch another section of drywall in the middle of humidity here in Maryland, and it took forever to dry, I was like, well, I'll just wait until like fall and winter when it's drier, and that way the drywall. That's my excuse is why there's still a hole in the wall. I'm waiting for the drier season to make that happen. Yeah.
I just had this conversation with Nicole about our back door. With the kitchen renovation, the back door had like extra plantation shutters kind of attached to it. So I removed all of that, removed the hardware. So there's holes, there's some patching that needs to be done, and I want to repaint the door. Very small windows of time that I could pull that off in Missouri. That's like leaving the door open for a long period of time and also expecting paint to dry in a reasonable and cure properly in a reasonable amount of time. So I missed my window when we moved into spring. Just busy doing other things. And here we are again, now moving into fall. Today's a perfect day for it, but guess what? Not going to get to it. So I guarantee I'm going to miss this window too. And it's one of those things we're probably just going to get used to a back door that has holes in it and like two
There's
different
the
colors
reality,
of paint.
right?
Yeah,
That's the real. That's the type of DIY show that I would watch, the reality one, where we got it done, the door's in place. I'm supposed to put up trim and paint this and that, but I don't have time for that right now.
Honestly,
Flash to 6 years later, we kind of like the way it looks now.
Yeah, there's a certain like blindness that happens to it once you get used to seeing it enough. You go, you know what? Doesn't bother me anymore. I'm okay.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And then you get nostalgic for it.
Yeah.
I've got gouges in the drywall next to my back door from Alex.
Yeah.
And I keep meaning to patch it, and I'm like, but it's from Alex. Like,
leave 'em.
for those who don't know, that was my Newfie Golden that I lost, 10 years ago? 10 years ago?
Yeah.
But now it's like, I can't get rid of that. Like,
No. Those are memories. I didn't know that he was part Newfie.
yeah, that's why he was almost 200 pounds.
Okay.
He was
All right.
huge.
I never saw him in person, so I didn't realize.
Yeah,
he was
I mean,
that
he
big.
definitely, you could see there was bigger, rounder head than just a pure golden. But
That's
yeah, you meet him in person, you're like, good Lord.
That's a big boy.
That's a lot of
He's a big
dog.
dog.
All right, Matt, what do you got going on?
I kind of feel like you, Mark, with your desk project, because I've been like trying to get to this breakfast nook thing, and I feel like everything happens to distract me and detract me from actually starting on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was planning on just kind of finishing up. I think from last episode, I was talking about how I was like stacking all my wood and kind of finishing up, kind of cleaning things up so I can get ready to start my next round of sawmill stuff in the future. Well, the next round of sawmill stuff starts on Tuesday. So at this point, it's like I just finally got done cleaning up, and I'm going to be running right back into it for a couple of weeks. But I have been at least mentally preparing for basically tomorrow. Mentally preparing for the build and trying to plan out all the videos. I know Mark and I talked about how we're going to structure this one because it's going to be a little bit different because it's actually two pieces of things that are getting built. So I'm like trying to outline and come up with like a good way to flow things together. You know, there's actually a lot of prep work like that goes into planning these things. Surprisingly, I can't
Turns out
go out there and start making things without just actually planning on how things are supposed to flow together. So anyway, I got that kind of going on in the back of my mind. And as far as like things that I'm actually working on, it turns out that I'm getting distracted again by like all the little things that I was kind of like trying to get through. So I was planning on just like giving the barn like a good cleaning, throw away all the stuff I don't need anymore from doing the house stuff, and just putting things away and getting it kind of tidied up so I have that space ready to go to actually be useful for something. So I got like halfway through that, and then my buddy Matt Rubin, he's like moving his shop. So I'm like, I know moving his shops is like a terrible, terrible experience, like on a commercial shop. So I offered to him, I'm like, if there's like some things that you don't need right away, you can like just need out of your way, I'll just come get them and get them out of your way. So there's like less things to have to like move the day of or like move back in and like move around or whatever. So I was planning on just taking a few things from him, but then like the shop space he was moving to that fell through on the day of the move. So then he's like, well, I don't have anywhere to go and I have to be out today. So I spent the day with him. We moved literally everything he has for his business here.
Oh, man.
Jeez. So now I literally, and most of it's all indoor stuff. So like dried lumber and his machines and everything. So it's all just stacked down the middle bay or the middle of the whole barn all the way to the doorway. And then my sawmill sits in the doorway and that's it. Like there's,
wow.
I'm like, oh, I'm going to have space out here, like do things again. No, I literally filled it with all of his stuff, which is fun. So he's working on finding a new place to move to, and then I can move all the stuff out of here and all that. But I bought a floor standing hollow chisel mortiser because I have been wanting one of those for the longest time. And
you just had the benchtop models up till now, right?
I have. So we've talked about like the buy once or did the upgrade path thing. I've done the full upgrade path on this. I started with a drill bit
attachment,
and
the drill press attachment.
I'm not even there yet. Not there yet, Shannon. A drill bit and a chisel. You square them up by manually. And then I went to the drill press attachment, which I would say to anybody, skip that one immediately. Don't even think about it. It's not worth that step. And then I went to the benchtop, which the benchtop one I've had since 2011. And it's just like on my list of like, I really want an XY table because I'm really sick of having to like move your workpiece and like somewhat secure it between all your cuts.
Yeah.
So that really lured me to a bench or a stationary.
Which one did you get? Which
I got
brand?
the Powermatic A, whatever the heck the number is, the 719. Is that what they are?
I don't remember their lineup anymore. They used to have two where they had like a super heavy duty one and then they had a lighter duty one.
This is definitely like a lighter one.
Yeah, I think they only have the lighter one now.
Now they have the T, which is the tilting table or tilting head, which I didn't get. I just have the A, which I very loosely looked at reviews on these things. But the thing with the tilting head is it tends to have a harder time staying true, I guess, or there's a greater chance of it, wavering. And then I'm also like, well, how often do I cut angled mortises? I don't. Right. I cut angled tenons. Like, I don't need to put a angled mortise into something. Yeah. Like on the long axis, I guess. So I'm like, I don't really need that. Like in all the years I've been doing mortise and tenon, I've never done that. I've never felt the need to do it. So I'm like, that's not really a feature that I need. But this one came up. It was a good deal. I'm like, I'm just going to go message. I messaged the seller and they actually got back to me because I have like tried this before. And like, you don't hear back. You're like, okay, I guess you're not that interested in selling it.
Do you want to sell it or not?
So yeah, I went up there. I picked it up with a skid steer.
He just got lonely. He wanted people to contact him.
You're just looking to make friends. It was actually kind of like a singles ad.
I really wanted the friends. I'm the one who's
singles ad. Single woodworker seeks
looking
friends.
For a woodworking friend.
Tilting floor standing bench.
Yeah, the tool is just the bait. Dude, great. You know what's funny about this? We're on opposite paths. So when I first started working with Powermatic, you get to that point with a sponsor where they're willing to send you some stuff that you don't currently have, right? So I'm like, you know what I really want? I had the Jet benchtop version. So I'm like, I'll take that really fancy floor stander. Well, I actually picked the lower level one, but they sent me the super heavy duty one that they don't even make anymore.
Nice.
This thing was amazing. I mean, it was just the most, just in terms of the movement of the beds and the control that you had was just like almost unfair levels of precision you can get with this thing. I loved it. But because of my work, my gravitation toward like the domino and other methods, I just really didn't use it that often. So back in Colorado, I sold it, but sold it. So the person I sold it to had the benchtop version of the Powermatic. So I was able to kind of give him a good price on it, but also partly trade. And I took his Powermatic benchtop version. And now that sits on the ground and hasn't been touched in years. I'm working my way backwards.
That's exactly where my benchtop Jet mortiser spent most of its life, was on the ground. And it's like I'd pull it out and set it up. And I was like, oh my God, this thing's so heavy. And maybe that's why I went to hand tools. Not just that tool, but heavy. It was just like having to move crap around.
I think you need a forklift, at some point.
That's true. I need that forklift lifestyle.
So I don't want to. I mean, I know we're getting a little long on the time for the show today, but I'm curious.
Who's counting? Who's keeping track?
Well, before the show, you told Lindsay it would take too long because I talk too much. That's right. Barely said a thing.
Now Matt. It's me. It's me and Matt that's the problem. No, just what I'm curious about is, our work methods are not that different. And what is it about what you do that makes the mortiser more valuable to you, and that to me it's just collecting dust on the floor?
I hate rounding off tenons.
Okay, oh yeah, fair enough. All right, I'm with you there.
No. I really like that sexy square mortise, square tenon, and be done kind of feel. Okay. I actually enjoy cutting mortise and tenons. Like I've been doing this long enough where I kind of figure out the things I like. What I don't really enjoy is the domino. It doesn't really bring me any joy. It's really only useful to me if I need to like get something done real quick, or if I want to get some kind of weird alignment thing. I just don't enjoy what we always call the point and shoot joinery, whatever the heck. I'm like, it's just not. That's easy not why I'm there. I'm not there to get some pieces of wood together as fast as possible.
So how about router based like slip tenons?
I've done that, but again, you kind of have to make the tenon stock.
Yeah.
I did that on the waterfall tables on one of them, because I did that alternative because, to the original point of planning out all these things that make sense for the classes, I did the domino on two of the tables to reinforce the waterfall joint. And then on the bigger one, I used a router, and I made that little like sideways jig thing to hold it and cut the slots.
Yeah.
So I've done that too, which is fine. I think that's a little bit of a different use case, because you could cut an integral tenon on the end of a 45-degree bevel on the end of a board to make a waterfall joint. That sounds absolutely horrible, though.
Right.
So that in that application, I think a floating tenon makes a lot more sense.
It does simplify angles, for sure.
But I'm not going to use it on a 90-degree Morrison tenon.
Yeah.
especially something that's like big and cool and sexy. Maybe like I would look at maybe using the domino to do like the web frames on a chest of drawers or something instead of doing Morrison tenon there, because that's like you don't really see it. It's not that exciting. There's a lot of them,
Right.
But if I'm doing like I don't know what, just like a frame and panel, I probably want to just continue doing a integral tenon on the rails.
Well, and there's a strength aspect. I mean, if you're going for the strongest thing possible, I think dominoes are a little overrated in terms of how people assume how strong they are.
Yeah.
I think it was Fine Woodworking actually a while ago, one of their joint tests that showed, compared to integral and traditional slip, mortise, and tenon joints, the domino was fairly low in terms of how much strength it has, which is, I mean, we always talk about this too, like how much is enough? If it's enough, then do we have to worry about it?
Again, you look at the context of the rest of the piece.
I was going to say, they always test those joints as a single joint.
Yeah.
And it's like, once you complete the web frame, or I always just say complete the circuit, whether then it's super strong.
Right.
Yeah.
Regardless of the joinery.
Most of those strength tests are like, wow, look at that. That's so low. And it's like, look at the number. It's like 970 pounds per square inch. What are you building? Right. That's a concern.
Who's sitting on that chair?
Bridge?
Yeah.
Well, very good. That's awesome. I liked going down that sort of rabbit hole there because
Except that, Matt, you're not going the full upgrade path because you forgot the Barnes pedal activated mortiser.
I do like that lathe too, but it's just so big.
You can talk about heavy.
There have like that. A couple of those have come up. I'm like, oh, I should get like. I'm like, it doesn't make sense in my shop. It's just too big.
But it's got cast iron ball and claw feet on it.
I get that it's beautiful and it's stout and it's sturdy and it's an amazing machine, but it's just like it's too much. If I had a giant shop where I'm like, okay, I got to take 8,000 steps to get anything done, then I would consider it. But like, it's just.
I will tell you though, having used one at the Stepping Stone Museum, they're very front heavy as well. So if you get too aggressive on the pedal, the whole thing starts coming towards you and it's a little terrifying.
So you are supposed to bolt it to the floor then. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you are.
So Matt, no attraction to Panta-Router, multi-router format at all?
The only thing that attracts me to that is to be able to prototype chair kits.
Okay.
That's literally it.
Okay.
But my own, like that, just standing at a screaming router, moving those things around. I'm like, that doesn't seem like something I would enjoy because for the same reason I don't like dovetail jigs.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned a screaming router. There is actually something satisfying about the sound of a hollow chisel mortiser.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like got a low frequency chugging and chewing sound that it makes.
It's sort of a bell noise of the auger hitting the chisel a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of a bell kind of sound thing going on.
And it's got a crunchiness to it.
Oh yeah,
you drool when you hear the bell.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is really weird. We are three wood dorks. I can tell you that much. All right, Shannon, what do you got going on?
I don't know, man. Like that's like woodworking is what the whole ASMR thing was made for.
Yeah.
Like, the sounds of different tools, different types of chisels. That's one of the things I love about hand tools is what I've been able to learn about like how the wood is cutting based on everything but your eyes. Like how the chisel is responding to how it sounds. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I've never been able to figure out how to teach it because it's like...
It's an experience thing.
Yeah, when it makes that kind of crunchy, gravelly noise, do this.
Right.
Like, what is a crunchy, gravelly noise?
You should probably do that trend where like someone does the thing or uses the tool and behind you and you can't see it and you have to guess what the thing is.
I'd be into that. It'd be cool.
I've only seen it for power tools. I haven't seen it for hand tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always like some guy and like...
It's like,
his wife.
What does that sound? That is a dull hand plane.
Yes.
That is a sharper hand plane.
What is the angle? Oh, no, well, it's beveled down. So anyway, never mind. That's a me thing.
Well, I will say, since we gave away this WoodRiver shoulder plane, I have the box in my hand for the audio listeners. I used it this week, and I have well documented my dislike of shoulder planes. I find them useless, but I had one. It was given to me by Woodcraft, and I actually have found a reason for it. Ironically, it's planing a tenon shoulder, which is what it was designed for. But importantly, a really long tenon shoulder. I have some 4.5 inch square corner posts for, because unlike you guys, I actually have not been distracted this week. Interestingly, it's this show that has pulled me away from woodworking right now. I've been like on a roll, and I had to stop to record this show. Dang it. But I'm finally getting around to building the plinth for that huge plywood case that I started making. The good news is I finally stopped moving that heavy thing around the shop, and it's amazing how much faster things go when I'm not moving that around. I guess I really do need a forklift in my shop to move that. But so I've got these big 4.5 by 4 inch, legs on this, and I'm dropping and turning it into a plinth. The whole case will slide down into, and cutting essentially stub tenons around the side. But now I've got this 4.5 inch shoulder, which is not that long, but normally I would go and just clean that up with a chisel. Usually I would slightly undercut it or whatever, but being able to get the corners exactly where I wanted and use the shoulder plane to drop the middle down to it's perfectly in line with the corners over that really 4-inch distance, that was a good use for it. And that little, well, it's over in my tool cabinet now. It's right there in my tool cabinet. That, whatever it is it a 1/4 inch? I don't even know what the width of the blade is. 1/2 inch.
I haven't taken it out of the box yet. How small? I mean, I know it's called the small, but how small is it?
Yeah, like it is a
teeny tiny
inch blade.
1/2 inch. Okay, well, that is pretty small.
I have a 1/4 inch rabbiting plane that I sometimes use for that same purpose, and that's like super skinny, and it's also like really delicate. I think 1/2 inch is it's probably the same as the Lee Nielsen and the Veritas as well. Now that I think about it, but it was really useful to get a nice even cut. One of the things I normally don't like about shoulder planes for that operation is I can't see where I'm cutting. And over like, a normal 2 inch or 3 inch wide tenon, it's like, it's just so much easier to grab a chisel and just flatten it out. And I can see exactly where the chisel is cutting, remove exactly what I need to. But here was like the consistency of getting that nice even cut. So I actually used the tool that we just gave away. So there you go, Nathaniel. Nice. Nathaniel, right? Who won it? Yeah. There's a good reason to use it.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, the take-home message is that everybody's got a price. If you give Shannon enough money, he will contradict himself.
Is that what we got out of this? Wonderful.
I think the message is not that. It's just that's how lazy I am. There was the tool. Nice. It happened to be on the bench it's from the last time we recorded.
Yeah, for the thing you're trying to do.
It's already sharp. Kudos to WoodRiver. It actually is sharp out of the box. I did nothing to the blade, and it was African Iroko, so it's a hard interlocked grain. It did a really good job. So yeah.
Okay.
And then just a little because this is a Woodcraft show, but I got an email from my local Woodcraft, and they are now carrying Rubio, and I'm psyched by that because I haven't normally carried it, and it's one of the things I like using Rubio for is all the tints. I rarely use the clear Rubio, ironically, and there's so many tints that oftentimes I was going to the Blue Woodcraft to buy them in the past, and I would buy all these different little sample sizes to figure out the right color, and now I can just go to my local Woodcraft and get it. I was very excited by that. So I don't know is that a nationwide thing or was it just my...
No, it's a whole thing. Some stores have them. We'll get more into this on a next show. There's a timing thing.
Sorry, Woodcraft.
But yeah, we'll talk about it more in the future, but that's good.
Well, I didn't let the cat out of the bag because it was an email that came to me.
It's your store.
Not to me personally from the mailing list.
No, totally fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some Kickback. Matt, I actually got you for that first one there.
All right, let's see if I can butcher this name. Jim, A.A. Restad, had a great time visiting Woodcraft twice while in Salt Lake City at a conference. Spent almost $1,000 on stuff I didn't need, and most of which I don't know how to use, but it will be fun to be listening to Wood Talk as I peruse the store. Oh, and tell Matt it's pronounced Arstead. Thanks, guys.
I think you have to lead with that if you're going to give a pronunciation key. Start with that.
I think Jim knew exactly what he was doing with that.
That's pretty calculated.
Good setup, Jim. Thank you.
That's really good. Okay, well,
but I don't think any one of us expected A.A. Restad to come out of that.
No, that was rather perfect, honestly. We actually have a voicemail specifically from Jim, if you want to hear what he has to say. Same guy, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Hi, guys. This is Jim Arstead in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I started listening to your show 2 months ago, and I've enjoyed many episodes this summer, including a memorable couple of stops at the Sandy Woodcraft store in Salt Lake City. I sent in a photo I took with your sign there. Also this summer, I have built a workbench for my shop or garage. I'm super happy with it, but I have a problem with the top starting to curl on me despite my every effort to allow it to move as it needs to. The top is a 2.5-inch thick glue-up of 8/4 beech that is 71 inches wide and 34 inches deep. Each joint is edge-glued with 5 number 20 biscuits per joint. After assembly, I used a slab flattening jig to mill the top and bottom dead flat. The final thickness is 2 3/8 inch nominally. I attached the top to the cabinet-style foundation with 4 6-inch wide 8/4 beech boards stood on end, so a gap of 6 inches between the top and the foundation, and attached everything with angle iron and lag screws. To allow the top to move, I slotted the outside holes and left the lag bolts somewhat loose so that the wood could shrink and grow laterally as needed. Despite all this, when I put it in my garage with about 1% humidity, this is Albuquerque, I noticed that the very outside boards are starting to pull away from the boards they're resting on, such that I have about 114 thousandths of a gap in the middle of the top when I place a 4-foot level across it from front to back. Is there anything I can do to fix this short of either living with it or maybe reflattening it at some point? Love the show. Thank you guys for not quitting. Bye.
All right, so I put, we're not on our questions yet, but I figured we were talking about Jim. Let's do his question here. Anybody got some quick advice for him? For those at home who don't have a calculator handy, he did say 0.114, 114 thou, which is just under 1/8 of an inch in movement is what he saw. I guess it's rising on one side. I can say for me personally, I would not, especially if this was made recently, I would not jump too quickly into flattening again. Right. Because sometimes these things are just starting to do what they're about to do, right? Like I might see where it goes from here, give it 6 months, give it a year even. I mean, depending on what he does, that may not even really impact his work very much. It's just frustrating when you've worked so hard to make a nice top like that and it moves. But it's not, I wouldn't say that that's atypical. Things like that can happen. What do you say? 2 3/8 is the thickness of the top. That's not super thick. No. Thick enough, but not super thick. So
I would tighten those outer lag screws down. He said he left them somewhat loose, which could mean finger tight or more. I would tighten them. The wood's going to move. Like they used to split, well, they still split granite by sticking a wooden dowel in a hole, pouring water on it, and it snaps the rock apart. The wood is going to move if you tighten those lag bolts down. By leaving them somewhat loose or slightly loose or whatever, you're not restraining that top, and that top is going to cup no matter what you do. So I would tighten it down. That might actually even fix your problem. I mean, 1/8 of an inch is probably a bit much, but the other thing you have to look at, Jim, is where is it out of flat and where is it still flat and where do you work? Like, you know, I guarantee you I've got a bit of a cup on my workbench, but it's not where I work. Most of the time I work in like a little, like 2 foot by maybe 10-inch deep area right on the front of my bench. Everything happens right there. And that's flat. The rest of it, I don't really bother to check because I don't need it to be flat.
I know we've talked about this on the show in the past, and I'm trying to see if I could find the episode where we've talked about things like...
So basically, Jim, go dig through 589 other episodes and just figure it out yourself. That's what Marc's saying.
Yeah, that's our advice. How flat is flat enough? And in fact... Wood Talk 292. I think there's multiple. Okay, yeah, wow, look at us. So the search worked on the website. So good to know.
Hey,
Wood Talk 292. We have how flat is flat enough, and Wood Talk 191. This is back in the chortle days. Also talking about how flat is flat enough, and I'm sure I don't know if you were on the show yet by 292, Shannon, but I'm guaranteeing at some point we have talked about how much of a workbench actually needs to be flat as a reference point from your perspective.
I joined in the 60s. Like,
okay, so you were
65
there.
or something like that.
So then I think one is probably Matt's perspective, and then the other is your perspective. But it's not as big as you think,
So we used to cover it about every 100 episodes, and it's been like, nearly 300 now. That's the problem. So it's time to cover it again.
Right, exactly. Okay, so I got a little quick discussion here that I thought might be interesting. And this is a bit of an epiphany that I came to with a conversation with my buddy Jason this weekend. We were talking about, he said he was listening to last week's show. We talked about the Woodcraft event with woodpeckers and how nice it is to be able to get your hands on these tools. Kind of went back and forth about the proposition of aluminum tools and given the price
tools
and whether or not aluminium tools are really worth it, compared to steel and how easy it is to dent those tools. So we kind of went back and forth, but the discussion went into, I was telling him how, and I think I even said this on the show, one of the things I love about woodpeckers is they're a company that will make these specialized, almost sometimes, going into the territory of gimmicky, but it's so niche, the solution that they create, that I see the value in it. And I think it's great that a person can find this little niche tool that's really well made that serves their needs. And my buddy Jason said, yeah, but the problem is from a different perspective. You look at the new woodworker who's just coming in, and what they see is a tool that they need to have. Where I see it as a solution to a problem, they see it as, well, if I want to do that thing, I need that thing. So the domino, get out of woodpeckers. The domino is an example. I look at the domino and I go, wow, Matt, you just said it before, point and shoot mortise and tenon joints. Mm-hmm. How cool is that? This is going to speed things up for me. The new woodworker sees me use that tool and says, well, if I want to make a mortise and tenon, I must need that tool. And I was like, all right, so this is kind of changing my viewpoint on the value of these niche products and how two different people from two different perspectives could see it very differently, and how I might actually misrepresent what those things are the way I talk about them. So it just had me thinking about how I don't want to say dangerous. It's like, this is a hobby for a lot of people and they're spending money anyway, but how quickly people can see that, like, I need this wall of red woodpecker stuff to be successful in woodworking. But in reality, some of those things are going to be completely unnecessary and maybe not the best choice for them. So I don't know if you guys have you gone through that kind of transition as a woodworker with things you thought you needed, but then later turned out that you didn't need them, and then vice versa, things that as a person with experience now, someone makes a specialized tool. We have a question about this later. Do you wish a certain tool existed? It's great when companies can take the time to make those things for you.
I think for me, it's more like the things I enjoy. I think for me, so much of my enjoyment of life comes from my time in the shop.
Yeah.
So the things I bought in the past that like you had to have to do things with, maybe that doesn't really make sense for the way I want to work. I think dovetail jig, that's probably the biggest one for me that I can like put a firm answer on.
Yeah.
Like when I first started, I saw people with making dovetail joints, and I was like, I went down the whole road of like, okay, where can I, what jig can I buy that works? The first one I saw was like a router template one, where it's just like a template you put down, you just kind of route around like a flush trim kind of thing. I'm like, okay, that's how you have to do it to make dovetail joints. This was in 2010, 2009, something like that. And then I just happened to stumble across some guy doing hand-cut dovetails with like a Dazuki saw and the cheapest chisels you could find. He's made this joint go together. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, but that seems like actually now it takes actual skill, because you got like know how to use a handsaw, and you have to maybe like know how to sharpen chisels, which neither of those things I had in my skill set back then. So I kept focusing on, okay, I have to get a dovetail jig to be able to make these dovetail joints. And then I finally got one a couple of years later, and I started using it, and I was like, this sucks. I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
This is not enjoyable for me.
It's finicky. It's limited.
It's finicky. And at that time, I had done a couple of hand cut. I'm like, this isn't that great. Well, yeah, I used the crappy tools. I didn't know how to sharpen chisels yet. Or I didn't actually have any sharpening stones for them, so I was still using them out of the box. And I had that crappy gent saw that isn't sharp at all, and you're sitting there sawing for like 8 hours to cut one tail. Like, what am I doing here? So that was my previous experience with that. So I'm like, okay, I really want to make dovetail joints, but both methods suck a lot.
Yeah.
But after further like investigation, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to work on my hand tool skills. And then I did that. I've got those foundations in place. So I'm like, okay, I actually have like a saw that cuts now, and I can sharpen chisels because I got sharpening stones. Crazy. And I learned how to do those foundational things. And I'm like, this is actually kind of fun. And I just stuck with hand cutting stuff to the point where I never even used a dovetail jig anymore. And then I finally got rid of it now because I only had it because I just thought I might want to use it someday.
Right.
But it was not something I enjoyed at all. At all.
Yeah. No, good point.
I think it's interesting because well, they always say most things repeat themselves, but I think we all run through that. Like when you don't have a lot of skill in the early days, you replace that skill with niche tools, that allow you to do very, very specific things. They are point and shoot and lock it in place and fire up the router and just follow the pattern, right? You're cutting dovetail joints.
Yeah, just like that. But then, so easy. You don't have to do 8,000 test joints and make sure it all fits.
Adjustment needed.
Hopefully nothing moves in the middle of your cuts, and then you put half your things go together, then somewhere in the middle they get sloppy and gappy. Like, what the heck happened here?
Yep.
Yeah, I've been there.
I think I hit a button. I found one of Matt's buttons. But then you start to, basically what Matt just said, you start to like work on some skills and you find ways that work for you. But then I think it happens again. Like the niche thing comes in later. You've developed some skill. You've also found your way, your style of working. And then you kind of lean into it. So like Matt said earlier, who enjoys making mortise and tenons. I love hand sawing tenons. It's one of my favorite things to do. I admit probably my best skill is sawing. That's what I feel the most comfortable with. So
I get that vibe from you.
Oh, I
just
love
the way you
sawing.
answer
It's
questions
fantastic.
and you talk about stuff. Yeah, just saw the line. How hard is it? Just the
saw
line's
the line.
right there. It's perfect.
You can draw the line. You can saw to the line.
That's right.
Don't even draw the line. Just freehand it. It'll be square. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You guys done?
Sorry. This is actually Matt getting spicy. I was just trying.
I know. I kind of love it. I want to just keep poking him with a stick. Yeah. Just 5 minutes from now. Hey, Matt, dovetail jig.
Hey.
Anyway, the point is I have 5 tenon saws now. Each one of them is tuned slightly differently. Is that necessary? Is that gimmicky possibly? Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to say gimmicky because I can tell you why. But is it niche? Hell yeah. Like I have a tenon saw for cutting tenons and softwoods, and I have a tenon saw for cutting tenons and hardwoods, and one for cutting in like jungle woods, like 2600, 3000 Janko hardness. I've got a tenon saw for really kind of odd angled cuts where you can't take a super long stroke and it's a shorter plate. I enjoyed tweaking the tooth geometry and like reshaping the teeth in order to make like the perfect cutting saw for this particular application. Now that may be more sickness than obsession, but I mean, if a company were to come along and say, okay, now we're making a saw that's perfect for cutting a tenon in this particular weird situation, I probably would have bought it. I doubt that will ever happen because hand saws will never develop that large of a following that people are going to sell them. But I mean, I think I'm pointing to my Joint Maker Pro off screen. I waited 10 years, almost 15 years to buy that thing. And at the time when I was a young and impressionable woodworker in like 2007, 2008, I think when that first came out, I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I was so excited to buy it. Never bought it. Turned to the point where I kind of laughed at it. I was like, yeah, I definitely don't need that anymore. What a gimmick. And then now I came back to it because it serves a very, very specific need. It also kind of fits my style, that style of quiet woodworking. It's the most precise tool I have in my shop. But yeah, it took me 15 years to get there. And I went through buying a bunch of tools, just selling off a bunch of tools. And now I'm kind of not really in a tool acquisition mode again, but I'm like honing things. I finally got a chisel plane. And actually used it, it took 20 years to get there. So I think we'll see. Maybe in 10 more years, I'll start getting rid of things again, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, it's kind of like we were talking about the mortise and tenon and hollow chisel mortiser. Like a lot of times these changes happen just because I don't want to say you get bored, but I've been exploring dowels a lot lately. Why? Because there's a couple of really nice jigs out there, and dowels are, I think, very underrated. So it's just kind of fun to go off on a tangent and see what you can do with that tool to understand how it works and how the joints compare, what you can do with it that you can't do with the other options. I think you just do these kind of things long enough, there's a natural curiosity to maybe try some other things. And we're getting older, but I still think we're too young to be just kind of old and set in our ways that we only have one way of doing things. It's just fun to explore.
I think this one really almost centers around the idea of jigs for me.
Yeah.
Like there's so many like table saw jigs. There's like 8,000 different little table saw jigs. And when you first get started, you see all these weird table saw jigs. You're like, oh man, I got to make all these jigs to be able to do all this stuff. But there are actually maybe easier, faster ways to do these things. But just like my dovetail jig, it comes down to some foundational foundational skills you need to have first before you can start skipping jigs or
Right.
some other tool or something. One, I don't know how long I want to talk about this for, but one like jig that comes to mind for table saws that I used all the time when I started was a straight line ripping jig for removing live edges off the boards, or just for like jointing or getting boards somewhat closer to straight before I went to the jointer. So I just had ones like benchtop ones, so you couldn't joint reliably anything longer than 4 feet. It had to be pretty straight to begin with. So I made this little. It's a sled with the clampy things. What those are called? The cam clamp things.
A toggle clamp.
It's toggle clamps. It just holds it down and it references the fence, and you can run your board through, and you can remove a live edge, or you can joint. It's a table saw jointing jig. But like nowadays, I don't use that. Like I just snap a line and cut it on the bandsaw to get my live edge off.
Right.
Or run the whole dang thing over the jointer because I have a big enough jointer to do that. But back in the day, I didn't have those things. So I was like, how do I find these solutions to make it work with what I have?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's certainly a valid way to get into it. You have to figure out, how do I actually make these things work for what limited tools and knowledge and skills I have? But as you grow, you continue to figure out like, oh, I don't really need this. This is actually more cumbersome than something else over here, which is actually more versatile. I can use this tool or this process to do a lot more different things.
Yeah. I think we're in a time now where maybe in the past, woodworkers would develop and see problems. They would confront challenges, and I'm going to use what I have to try to solve those problems. And the solutions were either shop made or, maybe eventually would be invented. But we're in a time now with the influencer age and social media where solutions are being presented before people understand what the problem is they're trying to solve and whether they need to solve it or not. And again,
and a
woodpeckers,
lot of bespoke manufacturers ready to solve that problem.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, woodpeckers, for better or for worse, there's things like, get this like 0.00001 flat accurate thing that you could put into your table saw so you could check, the alignment of your saw, which most of us would just use a blade for. Yeah. But it's a specialized tool that like, oh, this is really handy. But a lot of woodworkers are...
that one, like, how close does it have to be? And do you actually see the problem? And that's what you're trying to fix. Like, is your board binding or burning, or do you get some weird thing happening in your saw, or is it cutting just fine? Yeah. And you're just out there looking for problems.
Yeah, it's not a responsive thing. It's a preventative thing because they don't know enough. I don't want it to sound like people who are buying these products don't know what they're doing, but I think we do have a higher chance of people finding solutions before they find the problem, which leads to that.
At its heart, most of us are hobbyists, and hobbyists like to buy stuff.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, and that's exactly why I have a Veritas shooting board plane. Like, that's the last thing I needed, but I got to the point where, like, you know what? I haven't bought a tool in like a year. Yeah. And like, it's really cool. And yeah, it's a great plane and I love it. But I could have also just put a track on the outside of my shooting board that like captured my jack plane. Yeah. And it would have worked about the same. But you do get to a point where you're like, either financially, you can finally afford it, or you're like, hey, I've been doing this now for 20 years. I'm going to buy that Joint Maker Pro that I wanted 15 years ago. Yeah. Whether it's fly fishing or cycling or whatever that I'm into, you get to a point where like, you know what? It's time. It's time to buy that titanium frame bike. I've waited 30 years.
It's fun. You love it. It makes you happy. Life is short. Enjoy it.
Yeah. And you don't have to justify it other than the fact that, I wanted that.
That's true. You guys know who's more than willing to take your money for the things that you need and the things that you don't?
It's
a trick question.
Is it though?
No. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Woodcraft. Well, this month.
That's right.
And it's
that's right. You guys guess right.
It's actually kind of cool, and maybe a little bit on topic here because I think there's some hot debate about whether some of these things are necessary.
This is very fitting.
They're really focusing this month on accuracy, and I honestly think you should too. To help you keep your work flat, straight, square, and parallel, they have great deals on marking and measuring tools, including some new arrivals from iGaging. Now, I don't know if you guys saw these. We got a couple of these to take a look at. One is the Snap Digital Thickness Gauge. I was intrigued by this because it's like, what do you call it? A digital, the name of that tool is escaping me. You know what I'm talking about, guys? With the little spring-loaded arm.
Oh, yeah. That you use to like test your arbor run out and stuff?
Yeah. There's a name for it, and I'm being stupid right now and don't remember.
Dial indicator?
Yes, a dial
indicator. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So this is a specialized dial indicator that actually has like the flat attachment on it, the like round flat one, and you can use it as a thickness gauge because it's just kind of spring loaded and it's going to just adjust to whatever it is. So it's sort of doing the same thing that a set of calipers might do. I just thought that was an interesting take on using a dial indicator to do that. Speaking of calipers, they do have a 6-inch polycarbonate digital caliper, very reasonably priced if you want to get a digital caliper. I've got a digital caliper in the shop that I use all the time, and especially in conjunction with that Felder planer, can come in super handy for nailing board thicknesses. And then they have a miniature version of the snap. I thought it was a miniature version of the thickness gauge. This is a mini snap depth gauge, which is super cool. To be able to check the depth of grooves or mortises that you're cutting.
How deep your T-track slots are.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, and this is all stuff that, again, depending on where you're at, the level of accuracy that you need, everybody is a little bit different here. Some people would find these things unnecessary, but other people would find them absolutely essential. And it's cool. Like I said, I was joking in the beginning, but it is important that a woodworking store carry all the things that satisfy the needs of all the woodworkers and the wants of all the woodworkers out there. So definitely check out some of these eye gauging things, and not just eye gauging. They got a ton of measuring and marking stuff that you can find over there at woodcraft.com.
Yeah, because if you can't see the line, you can't saw to it.
Truth.
They also have wood specials. Go figure, Woodcraft carries wood. Their September wood specials, 40% off leopard wood. If you don't know, that's like a lace wood looking thingy. What is that? South American, I think? Somewhere down there. Argentine Osage orange. This one's interesting. It's just like Osage orange, North American stuff, but kind of a little bit more orange, a little bit softer. Good stuff. Those are both 40% off. This one's interesting. 50% off Canalete. And I admit, I did not know what that was because I've always heard it referred to as Laurel Blanco. So I looked up Canalete and everything came back Laurel Blanco. I was like, oh, okay. It's just one of those other words. This is a cool wood, though. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of a butternutty color to it, like a lightish brown, creamy brown, an open grain wood, but it's also only, I want to say it's like 700 or 900 Janka hardness. So really good, easy to work with wood. It's a Mexican wood, like really like far south Mexico wood. Okay. But yeah, it's interesting species. It's kind of cool to see it show up here.
That's why I like to give these to you, Shannon, because I know you'll likely have a story or a little bit of info about a species I have never heard of.
Yeah, and well, to be fair, I didn't know what Canalete was either. I had to Google it, and yeah, Laurel Blanco. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay,
well, like
very
good kind of look to it.
It's got a butternutty feel. Butternutty.
An Argentine Osage orange. Did you know that Matt would pronounce that Osage Orange?
Orange.
Most likely.
Would I?
Yeah.
You would, I think.
Yeah, and Argentine is actually orange, unlike Osage orange, which is yellow.
Oh, really? Okay, so I didn't know that. Yeah. That's good news. All right, well, don't
Osage
forget.
Orange. Want to
remind?
Is that the video?
That's not the orange.
No, this is
Argentine
the North American
version.
stuff.
Okay, very nice.
That's my planing stop.
Good deal.
On my workbench.
All right, well, don't forget the Just Get Started campaign is still rolling right along. Head over to woodcraft.com/start if you're looking for a little inspiration, need help getting started, and don't forget to check out that spoon carving video. We keep talking about it every month because it's that good. You got to go see that. I found that inspirational. I've watched it every day, honestly.
Every day.
That's our day.
Starts his day
with some spoon carving.
I have a coffee
on the toilet watching Adam carve a spoon.
Adam Savage carving, and I just get my day going. All right. Well, thank you, Woodcraft, for sponsoring the show. We really appreciate it. And now it's time for questions. This is a supersized show. I'm telling you.
Yeah, apparently.
How long?
All right. First question.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. You promised Lindsay an hour, and you are not going to keep that promise.
See, this is why I left. I don't even give times anymore. What's the point?
It's imperative that Lindsay know this is not my fault.
Nor mine. It's Woodcraft's fault.
I don't think she cares that as much as you think she does.
She could pen a strongly worded letter to them. All right. So the first one is a question that I don't believe any of us have an answer to, but I feel the need to put this out there that maybe there's someone in the audience that can help Simon in the situation. I was going to say Simon says, and that wasn't going to come out the right way. But Simon did say this. I recently had a medical procedure go wrong, As a result, I have lost most of the motor control, grip strength, and sensation in my dominant hand. Woodworking has been a lifelong passion, and I'm in the middle of a huge cabinet build, but I'm too scared/frustrated to set foot back into the shop. I've had a Google, but haven't had any luck finding material on how to adapt woodworking after an injury. Do you guys know of any resources? P.S. Go Woodcraft. So this is a situation where obviously this is well beyond our expertise. It's very specific to his situation and losing function. We don't know what the prognosis is here. Is this a physical therapy that eventually will bring back, the feeling and the motor ability in that limb? We don't know what's going on with you there, Simon. So I'm not going to give advice on it. But if there is someone who knows a resource and can give at least some basic advice, I would imagine he's going to have the support of a physical therapist and doctors to help him recuperate from this. But in the audience, if you guys know of anything, let us know, and we will forward that information on to Simon, because my heart goes out to him. That sounds awful to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to assume that you guys don't have a resource, but I'm guessing you don't.
I would say other people that have experienced this type of thing, there are... Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head the names of these people, but there's one person I follow on TikTok who's a quadriplegic. He's still banging out cutting boards. He has a function in his arms, but not his hands. So he's in a wheelchair, and the way he's figured out how to make things happen without being able to actually grip things is kind of inspiring. So I think there's definitely people out there that could be a little more, personally supportive of Simon and kind of sharing their own. This, because Simon's not the first person to experience this. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's situation is unique, but seeing how other folks with a disability are compensating for it. Mm-hmm. I got
quite a few combat wounded veterans in the hand tool school that have overcome a lot of this. And they have like their own even little community in the community where they're like, hey, how do you handle this? With that in mind, reach out to Rob Cosman and his Purple Heart program. He could probably put you in touch with people who have had grip strength issues, motor control issues. What Rob's doing over there is awesome. It's amazing for wounded warriors and such. That would probably be something to look into.
That's a real good point.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. I've got a guy on Instagram. I'm going to have to find his account who's in a similar situation that you mentioned, Matt, where he has very limited limb control and grip. And he does amazing things and is so inspirational to follow this guy. So I'm going to find that link, and I'm probably going to forget. So someone remind me. I don't want to forget. All right. So the question that I picked today that I actually can answer is from Tommaso. That Tommaso is what he said. Every day we see new innovations and offerings that make our woodworking better. So what is a tool that you would like to see made, be it a high quality version of an existing tool, a shop version of an industrial piece, or something to handle a task that currently takes multiple tools? Personally, I'd like a sander that you can adjust the shape on so that I could set a curve for rounding the ends of narrow stock. Well, that's kind of cool, like an adjustable bladder of some kind that would like shape and morph into whatever shape you want. That would be cool. You know, for me, I don't actually have a specific tool in mind, but I do have a part of a tool that I wish we had a little bit more control over. So you know how on table saws, there are things you can add, and I know Harvey has a couple things in this arena. Woodpeckers has made an attachment to make your fence micro-adjustable.
Oh, yeah.
That Canyon Fire Tools has that little attachment that I use for the fence. It's fantastic. But you get micro-adjustability on the fence. I would love more granular control of my blade height.
Oh, that'd be great.
Right?
Yeah,
it's so clunky on any table saw. I need to just lower it a hair. You know, we're just talking about making a tenon or something like that. I want to lower it just a little bit.
You want a router lift, a digital router lift for your table saw.
Yeah. I don't necessarily want it to be motorized. I don't necessarily want it to be digital. Like if that happens and it's, efficient and it makes sense, fine. But I just want more control than just up too much.
Yeah.
And then you go back and there's so much slop.
Mine has backlash in it, so you can't go back. You got to go past it and then come back up to where you think it used to be.
That's exactly the problem. Too much backlash, and it's interesting to me that no one has really tried to tackle that problem.
Wouldn't that be a major engineering issue?
I never thought about that, but that would be
your
on my list.
And the worm screw on the trunnion would have to be almost re-engineered. You'd
Absolutely.
have to have a finer thread.
It needs to be like a router lift. 100%.
Or if there's something in in there actually measuring the movement of the blade inside the mechanism, and that's on it some kind of a digital display.
I guess that works too.
So that this way, regardless of what the screw is doing, it's only judging the actual movement of the blade. Or even something that you could put on top of the saw that touches one of the teeth. And I guess you could do this. Maybe you can go to Woodcraft and buy an eye gauging caliper of some kind or a dial indicator.
That just seems like a less elegant way of, not that that's not an option, but I think that's way less elegant than what I would love, which is just like, okay, here we go. It's a little bit, even in my thickness planer is like even easier to like dial in than that because I know the turns of 16th and it's very obvious where I am in the turns and I can really dial it in like better than, it's not great, but it's better than the table saw.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never had a digital router lift, but I had one, I think it was the Jessam, and it was like one rotation of the handle was, I think it might've been a 16th as well, but it also had gradations like at every clock point, you could break it down into 12ths and I could get really, really, precise way more than my work ever called for.
Well, I just wonder if this is something that's so ingrained in table saws that like no one would ever, because it would take a complete redesign to incorporate that type of a lift mechanism into it.
I'm sure they exist.
Still allowing for tilt.
Talk to Felder and guys like that. There probably is something of that level of machine.
Yeah.
That has that.
Well, there you go. Table saw companies, get on it. I'll buy it. Get at least one sale. Shannon, you're next.
This is from John. He says, I'm tired of reestablishing the bevel on my tools the hard way with stones and sandpaper. Yeah, I don't blame you. I've been thinking about upgrading to a slow speed grinder. A Tormek would be my obvious first choice, but it's more than I want to spend right now, and space is a constraint. I'm wondering if you could give me some things to look for in a grinder, what types of grits or wheels to get, and I guess if you think it's worth the space and the money, or should I continue my sufferfest? Are there any must-have jigs for sharpening on the grinder? So he actually said, I've been looking at the Rikon half horsepower grinder that is from, he says, this week's sponsor, Woodcraft. Is there something we don't know?
Well, no, it is this week's and also the other 51 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
So all the weeks this year.
All of those weeks.
So I pulled up the Rikon
I have this grinder, by the way.
I think, okay, good.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I think it's like 187 or something like that on Woodcraft right
179.
now. 179. Yeah. So I just went digging, and the first thing I thought was go to Harbor Freight, see what they have. So you can buy an 8-inch grinder at Harbor Freight for $89, but it is not slow speed. It's twice the RPM. So the Rikon is 17,
way faster.
1750, and way faster.
Yeah. Get ready to burn your tools.
In my opinion, I've never put...
It might be problematic.
It was. Hands. That's why I have the slow speed one as well.
Okay. That's very, very fast. Oh, there goes my tool. Bye-bye.
Yep. The water-based ones, like the Jet and the Tormek, like they run super slow. I don't know the RPM, but super, super slow. I have a Tormek. I've had it for nearly 20 years now. And they are very slow. No, I don't just mean in turning speed, but in sharpening.
Material
like the
speed.
idea with all of those tools is to remove the minimum amount of steel, and you do that through incredibly precise setup. You're not finding the bevel, you nail the bevel, and you just take a skin of steel off and you're sharp. That makes the Tormek and the Jet and the Grizzly and all those, once the patent ended, everybody jumped on board there. That's what makes them efficient, but they are still quite slow. I don't use my Tormek for like reestablishing bevels and things like that. I love my Tormek for turning tools, frankly, and for the jigs that come with it. I will occasionally reset, or if I'm just not feeling it on the hand sharpening things and I'm like, look, I just need to get this blade kind of reset and flat, because over hand sharpening for a couple of years, I've made a convex bevel or something like that. I will use the Tormek for that, but it is still quite slow, which is why I have a hand crank grinder. And I don't have a hand crank grinder because I'm trying to be like this super Luddite guy. I just wanted a way to turn a more aggressive stone. So my point to this is I've often not put a lot of stock in the grinder itself and more about the wheel that you choose. So I was thinking, okay, well, I could go to Harbor Freight and I could spend half the price. Again, it's not half the price because it's a higher speed grinder, but you still would then have to go and spend like $40 on like an aluminum oxide Norton wheel, which is a nice, cool grinding wheel. $40 a piece, 100 grit. I've never gone above 100 grit on a grinding wheel. I like a 60 and 100 on a grinder. But still, you're going to pay $80 to $90 for 2 wheels to go on that, lower cost Harbor Freight, because I really don't know that I would trust the wheels that come with a Harbor Freight one. So now you're at $130. And what did we say? It was $170 for the Woodcraft one. I wouldn't really trust the stability of the platform on the Harbor Freight one, the Rycon one. Probably, Matt, how's the platform, the stock platform?
It's fine. I removed it because I have the Wolverine grinding jig for the turning tools.
And that was my next point.
It's fine.
You're probably going to replace that. You might, I use the Veritas angle platform on my hand crank grinder, which is really funny looking because it's this, 1800 hand crank grinder with this sleek, aluminum Veritas thing on the front of it. So you're probably going to end up replacing that, which could, it's going to take both Rycon and the I'm just using Harbor Freight as an example, up another $50, $60, depending on what you go with. If you're going to sharpen turning tools, you're going to want something like the Wolverine jig or something like the Tormek offers for things, especially things like bowl gouges and complex grinds and stuff. But if you're just talking chisels, you obviously already know how to sharpen using, flat medium, sandpaper, stones, etc. What you should be using your grinder for is exactly what you're saying, resetting that bevel. You don't really have to be super, super precise or even super fine to get that sharp edge because you're going to do that with your stones. So I just don't know that I would put a whole lot of stock in the grinder itself, but once you start adding things up, you're probably better off just going with the Rycon one. I think you're going to end up spending just as much, if not more, or very comparable if you went and bought a cheaper grinder, just as long as you recognize that the secret is not in the motor turning the wheels. The secret is in the wheels themselves. Although the speed is nice. So.
Well, speaking of which, can I spend some more of John's money?
Yeah, go.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I'm going to put a link, and Shannon, if you want to make sure this gets into the notes too, there's a link to WoodRiver brand 120 grit CBN grinding wheel.
Oh, they have a WoodRiver one now?
Uh-huh. And CBN wheels, if you haven't seen them, they don't need redressing. They stay flat. They stay sharp. They don't load. I've actually got... is there a big difference between I got to look at the RPMs, the slow speed grinder and just an adjustable speed grinder? Because I run a old Delta adjustable speed. I just keep it on the lowest speed at all times, but I do run 2 CBN wheels, higher grit and lower grit. And I also have the Wolverine platform on there. Fantastic. For as much as I use it, which is not that often, it's just perfect every time. The 120 grit wheel is $150. So, they're not super cheap.
Yeah,
but
I've always wanted to try one. I've never had a chance to try one yet. I've heard great things about them.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, likewise.
And what do you, the other thing I would say, John, since Marc's going to spend more of your money, maybe I can save you a little bit. I honestly don't know that you've got to have the bigger wheel. I've worked on a 6-inch and smaller wheel before. I personally love the greater hollow grind that I get out of it. Because of all the hand sharpening I do, I've got a much more stable platform with that hollow grind. Yeah, and the 6-inch wheel gives me a more pronounced hollow grind. So you can save money by going with a smaller diameter grinder and, of course, smaller diameter wheels. Just the Norton wheels drop, I think, $15 when you go from 8 to 6 inches. There are people out there screaming at me right now saying, no, it's got to be a 10-inch wheel or something like that. Go with a smaller wheel. I think you'll end up, because you're already using flat medium media to hone, I think you'll like that more pronounced hollow grind, frankly.
Yeah. Cool.
So Marc will spend more of your money. I'll try to save you some and we'll come out equal.
I think the short answer to this is it's the wheels. You can spend the money on a cheaper grinder and then put better wheels on it, or you can just buy something that has the good wheels to begin with.
Well, Matt, do you know, I'm assuming they're Rycon wheels. It doesn't say in the Woodcraft ad, it doesn't say what the wheels are. It just says they're aluminum oxide,
white ones. I think there's some generic ones.
Fairly generic ones. Yeah.
I don't know if they're any good.
They're fine.
Okay.
What I was going to say is the difference between the cheap wheels and the expensive wheels is the balance, because that's what really balances the grinder. And on my high-speed one, it was a Ryobi. They had terribly out-of-balance wheels, and that thing would shake and vibrate, and it would walk off the table if you didn't have it clamped down. And it wasn't fun to use because it's juddering around. So when I bought this, not only is it slower and less scary, but it's also just it just sits there. You're this is fantastic. I'm not fighting the tool to sharpen my stuff, and it wasn't terribly expensive, and it came with better wheels anyway. And the wheels I have on there now are the same ones I have the whole time. I haven't replaced them. They're smaller in diameter now, but...
So probably, John, what I should have done is just said, Matt has this wheel. Matt, take it away. Because it sounds like...
There you go.
But yeah, you can...
you should.
It's the wheels. With this tool, it's the most basic thing you could ever have for a tool. It's a motor with 2 shafts on it that you mount 2 wheels on, and it's the wheels themselves that do all the actual work. So I would look at it that way.
There you go.
We good? Anyone else want to keep talking about grinders?
No.
I'm looking for RPM specs here for a second. So I'm looking at the current Delta variable speed, and I'm on Lowe's website. 3,400 RPM is the max RPM. It doesn't say what the minimum is.
Oh, that's just okay. So the max is the same as the high speed then.
But
Nobody cares about the slow speed.
I know, right? But the slow speed
first, you're
grinder
last.
is going at 1750.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine the variable must get down close to that on its slowest speed, if 3,400 is the max.
You don't have a little tachometer thing? You can go check it real quick?
Well, I'm going to go to Woodpecker's site and buy it, and then I'm going to,
then give it
specialized
away
one
on a
that's,
future show.
Yeah, just made for woodworkers. But okay.
By the way, Tormac and wet grinders, 90 to 120. So they're
that's real slow.
Oh boy.
Very slow.
That's why you don't want to use those for like a lot of stock removal. You'll be there.
Well, and you also have to use that grading stone that they give you to give it the coarse grind versus the fine, and that's it's.
They make a CBM and a diamond now for Tormac too.
Oh, do they?
Oh, really?
Of course they do. Well, what am I thinking? Of course.
Yeah.
You put diamonds on anything.
I mean,
I'm surprised you don't have a diamond wheel for your grinder, Shan. You're Mr. Diamonds over there.
I know. That's because my original is still going strong, and it's like, what am I going to do? Throw this one out? So in the next like 130 years, when I finally wear it down enough, I'll buy a new one. But at that point, it won't be diamonds anymore. It'll be adamantium or vibranium stones or something like that.
Diamonds are a woodworker's best friend. That's what we always say.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're worth it. You're worth the diamonds.
Totally worth it. All right, Matt. Get us out of here.
This will be a fast one, I think. This is from Gary. Matt, why don't you get a wood chipper for the offcuts and use them for mulch? Great question, Gary. This is something that I would like to do, but not specifically for what you have in mind here. And the real answer is because I would need a pretty big one. And pretty big ones are pretty expensive. Like a new truck expensive.
But since when does that stop you?
Right.
What kind of BS is this?
I'm getting there.
Okay. All right. Fine. Go.
Besides the fact that there are a lot of other financial priorities in my life right now that don't involve spending tens of thousands of dollars on a chipper. So for me personally, for the stuff that you're talking about me chipping, I would need at minimum a 12-inch chipper, or probably more practically an 18-inch, which is it's like the biggest chipper you see pulled behind a tree services truck. They're huge and they're very expensive. The other thing, you get a smaller one. Then you got to start cutting up stuff to fit in the chipper. And I'm like, is that more time you want to spend? I got to take this offcut from the slab, flip it vertically, and then rip it on the sawmill to be thinner so then I can feed it into a chipper. I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of having a chipper to save time on waste disposal. And then for mulch, like how much mulch do you need? That becomes like a problem at a point. Because like, okay, I have 8 inches of mulch on my garden beds and my flowers are drowning now because there's so much mulch.
Yeah, but with the excess mulch, you could start spalting your own lumber. Just bury your slabs in it.
Do I need more things to do?
Can't you just start a mulch delivery service?
I'm getting there, Mark. That was the next thing. So,
good.
The actual reason that I want a chipper that big is to be able to offer a dump site for tree services. So they'll bring me the entire tree, including the log that I actually want, and I can dispose of all of the branch and smaller material through the chipper. And at first, I could just, shoot all the chips into the woods for a while, and then you come with the problem of what do I do with all these chips?
Mm-hmm. Do what Arizona Marc did and just like blow it into the next door neighbor's yard.
That's basically what I was kind of thinking, but into the woods, just kind of shooting it into the woods somewhere to make
back
the whole
to nature, back to nature with
exactly. It's dusty out there anyway. Just let it go.
It's back where it became. Nice. So anyway, that's the answer to that, I guess. I take the path of lowest resistance at this point in my life.
Fair enough. All right, well, good deal. I think that's going to do it for us today. Nice supersized show for you guys. Remember that the show is made possible by the generous contributions of our Patreons. Patreons? Yeah, I said it like a boomer. Our patrons at patreon.com/woodtalk, as well as our friends at Woodcraft. There's always something cool going down at your local store, so you always want to check the website at woodcraft.com. And remember, all stores, they generally have these all-store events. We are coming right up on this. September 12th and 13th is the Woodpeckers Vendor event with giveaways and 15% off all day at on any Woodpeckers product. And then in October, they are indeed having that Jessam event there. So October 17th and 18th. And I'm not going to list all the giveaways here, but there's some serious giveaways, like of Jessam products there, router tables, lifts, things like that. So you're not going to want to miss that opportunity. Just show up to get in the giveaway alone would make it worth your time. So definitely check that out. And Matt, how about you tell them about those local events that you really enjoy reading?
I am not warmed up enough for this yet. Okay, here we go. September 13th, the Woodcraft of Grand Rapids will host the Tool Swap and Shop. September 19th to the 21st, Appleton Woodcraft will have its grand reopening. That's exciting. September 27th, Woodcraft of Pittsburgh is hosting the Woodcraft Gallery Show 2025. Makers, this is your chance to show off your work. Bring submissions to the store September 24th to the 26th. Make sure you get your stuff in to be shown off to all those people there. Where's that? Pittsburgh. Okay. September 26th to the 27th, the Cleveland Woodcraft will host its Fall Back into the Shop event. 15% off bag sale, and you'll get to keep the tote. You get to keep the tote.
The tote?
There will also be demos on both days.
I want a tote.
This is nuts. It's like a freebie. September 27th, the Woodcraft of Nashville will host its 22nd anniversary woodworking show. It will include a store-wide sale, doorbuster deals, vendor reps, free demos, free kids, workshops, and free lunch.
Free kids and free lunch.
You need an extra kid? Is it like the pennies on the cash register?
I was going to say,
like,
can you leave them?
Give a kid, take a kid kind of thing? I'm not happy with mine. I'd like to exchange these.
I think that's at the Grand Rapids Swap and Shop.
All right, kids, we're going on a trip to Nashville.
Man. All right, September 27th from 1 to 2, only an hour. Newington, New Hansford Woodcraft will host a festival feature demo. Sanders.
Nice.
Trying to decide which sander or combination of sanders fits best for your needs? They'll help you decide. Spend some money. Buy all the sanders.
They want you to, I'm sure they'll say all three of these.
These are perfect. You need them all.
That's what you need.
Saturday, October 4th, the Woodcraft of Chattanooga will host its 11th anniversary woodworking show. It will include a store-wide sale, doorbuster deals, vendor reps, free demos, free kids, workshops, and free lunch.
So, yeah,
a comma makes all the difference, doesn't it?
It's a Tennessee thing, apparently. Both Nashville and Chattanooga.
Well, they got a lot of extra kids down there, so
I guess so.
You know, they're just giving them away.
Oh, wait, and a big reminder, October 4th to 5th is the Pacific Northwest Woodworking and Maker Expo presented by Woodcraft, held at the Expo Idaho in Boise.
He's losing. His battery's draining.
I'm out of this.
We're going to wind you back up.
It's done.
Woodworking vendors, makers selling handmade goods, educational seminars, and a tool sale. Tickets and details are available now at woodmakerexpo.com.
Yeah.
Whew.
How exciting. Good job, Matt.
Thank you.
It's probably better that the kids are free, because if they were for sale, that would be a major no-no. So
No.
Yeah.
You can't sell kids.
I don't think anyone would buy them.
You got to give them away.
You do. Yeah. Got to be free.
Well, thanks for all the questions, folks. Send me your future questions, to be answered or not, to woodtalkshow.com. We've got a forum there. You can email us at woodtalkshow@gmail.com. And definitely, please, if you can help Simon out with his post-operation surgery, we'd love to hear it. Write into the show and share that with us, with Simon. Love to help him out. Let's crowdsource this one. So thank you, as always, for listening. And a big thank you to Todd, because your work will be needed on this show.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question.
As always. Yeah. Also, we forget sometimes to thank Margaret. Margaret still does take our shows and puts the posts up on social, so everyone knows when there's a new episode, and we sometimes forget to thank her for her dedication, hard work, and knitting. Yeah.
Always.
All right.
Always
Well,
knitting.
thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
I guess you will. Goodbye.